Welcome back. Okay, so we're going to talk about Columbus. Columbus this year, it has been a really difficult season because they was supposed to be better than this. Injuries have caused a big part of their problem. They're 15, 32, and 3 overall. They got off to a tough start before the injuries really piled up, and then the injuries just didn't help. It's just been basically pile on, pile on, pile on. And so I've got their status as retooling. I don't know what their status could be. Like, you could say, well, what about a rebuild? But you don't sign Johnny Gaudreau, you don't re-sign Patrick Laine, you don't make the moves they're making if you plan on a rebuild. So unless there's some big moves coming to move guys out, and I don't see that coming either. Columbus is a team that's going to be interesting to watch from here. Because I have no idea what's going on with Columbus beyond this season. Their power ranking, it's been consistently mediocre. The highest they've been is 25th. They have been last on the board at 32nd. Their current ranking is 31st. Their playoff odds, 0%. I am recording this before their final game before the break, which is Tuesday against Washington. I don't think that's going to change the way that I would approach this video at all. Through their first 10 games, they were 3-7. Through 20 games, they were 7, 12, and 1. So they were better that second 10 games, 4, 5, and 1. And then they're 10, 18, and 2 after 30 games, 12, 26, and 2 after 40 games, which means since then they've been 3, 6, and 1. So it's been just an overall mediocre season. There hasn't been a big streak for Columbus. They've had some comeback victories. They've had some fun games to watch, but in general, it's been a mess. It's been a mess. They did well on the reverse retro, though. This reverse retro jersey is nice. So there's that. But for Columbus, it's been rough, and it's been rough for Johnny Gaudreau as well. He is not producing anywhere near the level that I think Columbus had expected, although it's right around where I had set around a point per game is what I expected. He has 13 goals, 35 assists, 48 points. He's right around a point per game. I don't put this on Johnny Hockey either. I think that in Calgary, we had this mix of players that everything just worked, and then Tkachuk and Gaudreau decided to move on from Calgary. In Tkachuk's case, it's worked out pretty well, and Gaudreau's less so. Laine, 14 goals, 16 assists, 30 points for him when he's been in the lineup. He's been good. Laine, it's always going to be a matter of consistency. Effort gets mentioned with Laine as well. You know that if he gave 100% every game, that he could be a 50-goal scorer. Absolutely, he could be a 50-goal scorer. He has the hands for it. Roslovic, it's been a tough year for him. 4 goals, 23 assists, 27 points. Jenner, 14 goals, 12 assists, 26 points for him. And Kent Johnson, 10 goals, 15 assists, 25 points. Quietly having a decent season for Columbus and remains one of the silver linings for a team that when I was trying to pick out the MVP, I thought, well, probably Korpisalo on a regular basis. And Merzlikins and Korpisalo are headed in opposite directions. The problem is Merzlikins is the guy with term on his contract. Korpisalo is not. Korpisalo is a free agent this summer. I think if Columbus decides to re-sign Korpisalo and comes back with the same goaltenders next year, I mean, there's only so many times you can do that before people start saying, wait a minute. And somebody somewhere says, who made that decision? And then jobs can be on the line. So for Columbus, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens and what the fallout is and who goes. Their pending UFA list, it's not a stellar list. Gavrikov is a very good top 4 defenseman for them. I do expect him to fetch something decent at the deadline. Bayreuther, depth defenseman. If they decide to move him, they might be able to get something for him. Korpisalo, I don't think he gets traded. You know, to me, I think if Columbus could find a way to get out of the Merzlikins deal and keep Korpisalo and then look for another goaltender, or give Tarasov the net as well and decide that Tarasov and Korpisalo are your tandem, that's probably for the best, but I don't know who takes Merzlikins' deal unless they buy it out. So Korpisalo, I'm not saying necessarily he's on the market. I would be kind of surprised if he goes. They might be able to get more for him right now, though, than they might during the summer, so maybe now is the time to move him if that's what they're going to do. And then you could bring up Tarasov after you move him. Nyquist is on the IR. He's on an expiring contract. Decent year for him at the time of the injury, and it's a shame because I thought Nyquist was playing all right and could definitely have fetched them something at the deadline. So there's not going to be a ton of help for this team's futures unless Gavrikov gives them a great windfall. But in general, Columbus is going to remain a team that if you had people name the 32 teams in the league, Columbus might be the last one to come to mind for many fans. and I want that to stop. And that's really, it's because they've won what, a round, 2 rounds in their entire history. They really need to have that sustained success. And I thought after they signed Johnny Hockey and they kept Laine that maybe now was the time. It was not the time. And when is the time? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.